Chapter 6. 145. Facing a New Day. There was warmth, sunlight, and the smell of fresh sheets, wood, and green leaves. Sonny slowly opened his eyes and felt the bed beneath him sway gently. No, the world itself had swayed. It was time to face a new day. Suddenly overwhelmed by terror, he sat up with a growl, his eyes wildly searching for the signs of danger, disaster, and death. His forehands rose, sharp claws ready to tear flesh apart. No, it was all a dream. I'm in the nightmare again. I never escaped. Panic washed over his mind, but the slowly receded. Sonny remained motionless for a few moments, then lowered his gaze and stared at his four hands. 4. This was the shadow demon's body. He was awake. He was himself. Well, the nightmare version of himself. It was also convoluted. He remembered the desolate fortress, the endless torments he had dreamt of, the fearsome battle with the black steed, and his eventual victory, the terrible pain of his last heart giving out. Tutum-tutump, tutum-tutump, tutum-tutump. Hearing the strange sound, Sonny looked at his chest. His 3 shadows were sprawled on the ground, so the rough skin of the shadow demon had lost its obsidian color and was back to its original complexion, as pale and gray as it had been back when he first entered the nightmare. There was a thin, barely noticeable scar running vertically from his collarbone to his abdomen. And beneath it, tutum-tutump, 2 mighty hearts were beating steadily, circulating rivers of blood through the gaunt, towering body of the 4-armed demon. He blinked a couple of times. I am alive? Not only was he alive, but he also seemed to possess 2 perfectly healthy hearts. Remembering something, Sonny shifted his gaze back to his hands and noticed that his 2 missing fingers were now back, be it of a slightly different color and seemingly carved out of ashen, polished wood. He tentatively made his hands into fists and saw the wooden fingers bend as if they were no different from the other 18. He could even feel the texture of the skin on his palms pressing against their tips. His 2 new claws were forged out of lusterless steel. Finally, Sonny raised his eyes and looked around, trying to understand where he was. The room he saw was not very spacious, but also not small. Its walls and ceiling were made out of wood, and so was the floor, hidden under an opulent plush rug. The bed he lay upon was sturdy and large, with a mattress so soft that it seemed like a cloud, and pristine white sheets covering it. There were several pieces of luxurious furniture in the room. A pile of bright-sitting pillows on the floor, a tray with succulent fruit on an intricate wooden table, and a large window on one of the walls, opening onto a breathtaking view of the boundless blue sky. Despite the lavish decor, the room felt familiar somehow. Sonny frowned. Wait a minute. Wasn't there a room just like this, but far more dilapidated and empty, on the ancient flying ship the firekeepers had repaired? Suddenly something clicked in his mind, and his vertical pupils narrowed. Noctis! That lying crook! Sonny was back on board the magnificent sky vessel that had a beautiful tree growing around its mast. Only that vessel had not been shattered and wrecked, then recovered and restored by Cassie's cohort yet. It was still owned by its original captain, the great and powerful sorcerer of the East, Noctis. He must have picked Sonny up after the battle with the black steed and kept his promise, fashioning a new heart for the shadow demon's body, and even replacing the fingers Sonny had lost while trying to learn how to weave, which was very nice of him. But didn't mean that Sonny would not still enjoy ripping the bastard limb from limb. That lying sack of monster crap. Spend the night in the fortress, Sunless. What's the worst that could happen, Sunless? I'm going to strangle him. Sonny growled hatefully and clenched his fists, almost slicing his own skin apart with the claws. He was full of resentment, fury, and vengeful wrath. However, after thinking about it for a few moments, he had to hide his fangs and make a sour face. Yes. The thought of making the deceitful sorcerer squirm felt very nice, but no matter how weak and affable Noctis seemed, he was an immortal, transcended, a chain lord of the Kingdom of Hope. someone whose mere presence was enough to scare a terrifying, corrupted monster away. There were far more productive things in life than harboring thoughts of revenge against someone like that. Besides, there was so much Sonny had to think about instead. The nightmares, the battle with the Shadow Stallion, the rewards he had received after emerging victorious from it, his future plans and actions. Sadly, he did not receive an opportunity to consider all these important and vital things. As if summoned by Sonny thinking of his name, the damned sorcerer suddenly opened the door and entered the room, whistling a jolly tune under his nose. Noctis was just as Sonny remembered him. Carefree, pleasantly likable, and dressed in extravagantly colorful silk garments. His raven black hair was immaculate and lustrous, and his beautiful gray eyes sparkled with jovial light. Noctis saw the four-armed demon and smiled brightly. "Ah, Sunless, you're finally awake." Sonny stared at him, the corner of his eyes twitching. "Bastard. You have the audacity to smile at me after sending me to that hell?" He hesitated, then let out a low growl as a greeting. Come to think of it, what, exactly, was the sorcerer planning to do with him now? A vague memory of one of the nightmares suddenly entered his mind, one where he had been turned into an obedient wooden doll by a... Who had it been? Sonny suddenly shivered. Noctis continued to smile, and then said in a strange voice, "Well then, since you're up, why don't you come with me, huh, Sunless?" Sonny gulped. Somehow he felt that this invitation was not really something he could refuse.